Welcome my dear students. So in this video we will discuss about the properties of Hilbert adjoint operator. So let H1 and H2 be Hilbert spaces S from H1 to H2 and T from H1 to H2 be bounded linear operators and alpha any scalar then we have the first property inner product T star y x should be equal to inner product ytx. So we will state each of these properties and the prove corresponding properties. So let us prove this. Inner product T star y x can be written as conjugate of inner product x T star y by the basic properties of inner product. Now, since T star is the Hilbert adjoint operator of T, inner product x T star y should be equal to inner product Txy. The conjugate is given, which can be written as inner product y Tx, which is what we need to establish. From this is obtained by using the property of Hilbert adjoint operator or definition of Hilbert adjoint operator. Now, conjugate is being transformed using the basic property of inner product. This is the first property. Now, the second property, S plus T, the whole star should be equal to H star plus T star. That is, if S and T are two operators, boundary linear operators defined on Hilbert spaces, then the Hilbert adjoint operator of S plus T should be the sum of the Hilbert adjoint operator of S and T. Okay, so this is the property. Now we need to prove this. So for all x comma y, we have inner product x s plus t the whole star y should be equal to, since s plus t star is the Hilbert adjoint operator of s plus t, so which can be written as by definition s plus t of x comma y. Now since s and t are linear, this can be written as sx plus tx by the addition operation y. Now using the property of inner product, this can be written as sx y inner product plus inner product txy. Since s and t have Hilbert adjoint operator s star and t star, this can be written as s star y plus x t star y by the definition of Hilbert adjoint operator. Now this can be written as x comma s star y plus t star y. So this should be x comma s star plus t star of y. So we have established that x inner product s, so inner product x s plus t the whole star y should be equal to inner product x comma s star plus t star of y. This is true for all x. So this is of the form, or we can take the conjugate. This is of the form inner product xy is equal to inner product xw. Then should be equal to y should be equal to w. That is s plus t the whole star y should be equal to s star plus t star y for all y. Here use 3.8.2 lemma. So that is s plus t the whole star should be equal to s star plus t star. Okay. So this is the next property. Now the third property is alpha t the whole star should be equal to alpha bar t star. Here alpha t of x should be x alpha times tx. Okay. Now in order to prove this, we take inner product alpha t the whole star y comma x. This can be written as inner product y comma alpha t x, because it is given that alpha t star is the Hilbert adjoint operator of alpha t. Now this can be written as inner product y comma alpha times tx. Now we can take this alpha outside, it becomes alpha bar times y tx. Since t has a Hilbert adjoint operator t star, this can be written as alpha bar t star y comma x. So if we include alpha bar inside, this is alpha bar t star y comma x. That is alpha bar t star of y comma x. So thus we have established that inner product alpha t the whole star y x should be equal to inner product alpha t star y comma x. This is true for all x. Now using lemma 3.8.2, we can write this as alpha t the whole star should be equal to alpha bar t star. This can be stated from the first property. Similarly, from this can be stated from property number 1, first property. So thus we have obtained another property of Hilbert adjoint operator. Moving on to the next property, property number 4. Property number 4 is t star the whole star is equal to t. That is, the Hilbert adjoint operator of t star is t itself. So we write t star the whole star as t star star. Okay. Now inner product t star the whole star x comma y can be written as inner product x t star y by the definition of Hilbert adjoint operator. So when t star is the Hilbert adjoint operator of t, and using the property number 1, this can be written as inner product txy. This can be from second step. The third step is obtained using property number 1. This can be obtained from first step. The second step is obtained using the definition of Hilbert adjoint operator. Now from this inner product t star the whole star x comma y should be equal to inner product txy for all x for all y. Now using theorem 8.3.8.2, this implies t star the whole star x is equal to tx for all x. That is t star the whole star should be equal to t. The next property is norm of t star t should be equal to norm of t star should be equal to norm t square. Since t is a linear map from h1 to h2, t star is a linear map from h2 to h1. Then t star t is a map from h1 to h2, and t star is a map from h2 to h2. Okay. Now this can be proved. Norm tx the whole square should be equal to inner product tx comma tx. Now t star is the Hilbert adjoint operator of t. Using property number 1, this can be written as t star tx comma x using the property number 1. Now this should be less than or equal to, if we take the modulus, norm of t star tx comma times norm x using Schwarz inequality. Now this should be less than or equal to norm t star t times norm x, which is norm x the whole square. So this implies norm tx the whole square should be less than or equal to norm t star t times norm x the whole square, from which we can return norm tx the whole square by norm x the whole square should be less than or equal to norm t star t. So we consider, we are taking the supremum over all, take supremum over all x such that norm x is equal to 1. We get, so supremum norm tx the whole square with norm x is equal to 1, then norm x square equal to 1 should be less than or equal to norm t star t. So this implies, this is the definition of norm t. So norm t the whole square is actually less than or equal to norm t star t. So thus we obtained that norm t square is less than or equal to norm t star t, which should be less than or equal to norm t star times norm t. Using the inequality, norm of t1 t2 is less than or equal to norm t1 times norm t2, where t1 and t2 are boundary linear operator. Here t star and t are boundary linear operators. Also we have proved that norm t star should be equal to norm t. So this should be equal to norm t times norm t, which is norm t square. So norm t square is less than or equal to norm t square, which is not possible. So norm t square should be equal to norm t square, which implies norm t square whole square should be equal to norm t star t. This should be true because we have obtained that a less than or equal to b less than or equal to a, which is less than or equal to b less than or equal to a, which is only true, which implies a less than b and b less than a, which implies a equal to b. So norm of t square is equal to norm of t star t. Now replace t by t star. We get norm of t star the whole square should be equal to norm of t star the whole star times t star. Norm t star and norm t are actually same. This should be norm t the whole square should be equal to, this should be t star the whole star is t times t star. So this should be equal to norm of t star times t. So this is what we need to establish as the next property. So next property number 6, which is t star t equal to 0 if and only if t is equal to 0. So assume that t star t equal to 0. Then this implies norm of t star t equal to 0. By previous property, norm of t star t is equal to norm of t square. This implies norm of t square is equal to 0. This implies norm t is equal to 0. So this implies by the property of norm t is equal to 0. Okay. Now to prove the converse part, assume that t is equal to 0. Then norm t should be equal to 0. Then norm t square should be equal to 0. Then by previous property, norm t star t should be equal to 0. Norm t star t should be equal to 0 implies t star t should be equal to 0. So we have proved both the part. T star t equal to 0 implies t is equal to 0 and t is equal to 0 implies t star t equal to 0. Now moving on to the last property. Last property is st the whole star should be equal to t star s star, here assuming that h1 should be equal to h2. Okay, st can be defined only if and only if h1 should be equal to h2. Okay, so in order to prove this, consider inner product x st the whole star y. St the whole star is the Hilbert adjoint operator of St. Now using property 1, this can be written as Stx comma y. Since S has the Hilbert adjoint operator S star, so this can be written as S of Tx comma y, which should be equal to Tx comma S star y, since S star is the Hilbert adjoint operator of S. Now Stx is actually S of Tx. Okay. Now again applying the definition of Hilbert adjoint operator, T star is the Hilbert adjoint operator of T. So this can be written as X T star S star Y. So thus equating inner product X St the whole star Y should be equal to X comma T star S star Y. Now equating using 3.8.2, we can equate this is true for all x and for all y, that is, which implies using this result st the whole star y should be equal to t star S star of y for all y. So which implies St, the whole star should be equal to T star S star. This is the property. So these are the 7 important elementary properties of Hilbert adjoint operator. Thank you.